Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Ground Up Podcast. My name is Matt with co-host Matt Huber. How you
You
doing today,
guys,
Matt?
great man. How about you?
We're doing good. No guests today, just
No,
us,
yeah,
just us. Yeah, unfortunately, people have to listen to us for a little bit.
yeah. And you and I had a conversation about one of the things we do is we have a lot of very interesting guests, and
Mhm.
have a lot of opportunity to get to learn from a lot of entrepreneurs and business leaders. But you and I've got our own story to be told at times, and
Right.
so I think what we're going to do is. A few times throughout the year, we're going to stop through and just kind of talk through our experiences in different series of topics. And I think today, I think that the big thing we want to do is just kind of share what we do with the audience. So, and Matt, I think that, we both have an interesting story of our own that we'll probably get into deeper, another day. But if you can, maybe tell the audience a little bit about how you would define what you do.
Yeah, and we're both newer entrepreneurs, and so we don't by any means claim to know everything. We're learning as we go, which what entrepreneurs do. We learn from other people, especially that's one of the reasons why we started the Ground Up Podcast, is to invite great people on here to learn from them and grow. And so I think that's something that we look forward to doing more of in, here in 2025 and onward. But for me, what I do is I started off my entrepreneur journey through wholesaling real estate. And I think I've talked about it one time where I've been the person that's always tried a bunch of different things. I tried, you know, drop shipping and stock trading and marketing team, whatever I could do, because I just knew like working for somebody wasn't something I wanted to do. And so wholesaling came across the plate, and I've gone through a couple sales with like homes that I've owned and everything like that. And so I was like, this has got to be it. Real estate is the number one thing I feel like people build wealth in. So, yeah, I started a wholesale real estate company about 3 years ago. I have steadily grown every year since then. This last year was our biggest year. It was our third year that we did, and we closed around 350 plus $1,000 in assignment fees with us and the small team that I have, which is good. We have bigger goals to grow, but for the past year, it's been really understanding how to run processes, how to run a business, and not just do it myself and everything myself, how to be a leader, and how to grow a team. And you come in on that, Matt, by being someone that I learned from when I used to work with you at the company, where how to run an organization, how to build a sales team, how to grow from within. And so, tell me a little bit about that and what you're doing currently and how you're teaching other people that same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it goes back to kind of, I would say my first experience in true sales was I used to sell direct TV inside of like retail stores. So if you guys have ever seen those guys standing at the front of Sam's Clubs or
Mm-hmm.
in the back of Best Buy, and they're asking you like who your cable provider is. At one point in my career, that was me. The reason why I took that job, and this was after a fairly successful career prior to this, is because I wanted to learn the way to do sales from a certain perspective. And the thing that really attracted me to that company was the fact that they said, hey, we're going to first teach you how to sell. Then we're going to teach you how to teach others to sell. We're going to teach you how to duplicate yourself and then give you a chance to run your own business. And so, man, very quickly in that company and at that location, I became the top sales guy in the company within 3 months. Within three additional months, I had kind of duplicated myself a few times and had been taught how to teach other people a simplified process that was already proven before me. One of the big things I learned in that process was about learning from people and asking a ton of questions early and then being willing to give it back at the end. About 6 months in, I got an opportunity to get promoted and to open up my own office. I moved about 45 minutes north of me to Fredericksburg, Virginia at the time, and I brought two guys with me to come run that office with me. And I really, really got a lot out of helping people around me get better. Talking to people and learning about the opportunity value instead of just the money value and being a part of something. And since I left that career, which I was there for about a year and a half, I ended up building 6 different locations. I had 5 other managers that worked for me. I had upwards of around 100 people overall that were inside of my organization at that time. But the biggest thing I learned from that process was just that being a part of something process, being a growth from within process, finding people that are motivated by that and do it. So then when I went into the corporate world, I was able to bring a level of intensity and a process that was just kind of really foreign to the corporate world. So over the past 10 years, up until the last 2, I had been building sales teams and first started off as a top individual contributor, eventually grew into a leadership role, eventually got an opportunity to run my own show where I got to call my own shots. And I took everything I learned from the foundation of that, selling direct TV and retail stores, and I put it inside of the corporate world. And for me, that's been probably the most successful thing. So as I left the corporate world to be an entrepreneur, the first thing I wanted to do was to create a company around merit-based promotion, growth from within. I don't like to hire managers. I like to develop managers. And that's kind of the foundation of what we built together.
Yeah, that's a crazy foundation that you started with, because going in stores like right now, it's like Target and BJ's and stuff like that. They have the AT&T guys that want to hound you down, and I do not want to talk to them. Like you're walking in, you got like me, like I got what I need to get, and I want to get it, and I want to get out, and I don't want to sit there and have an hour long conversation about my phone plan.
Yeah.
And so being able to be successful in that role, like you have to be good, and you have to.
And it taught me the law of averages. It taught me the ability to handle rejection. It taught me the foundation to how I teach sales, which is through pitch, pace, and attitude. All of those things, Matt, that you've heard me talk about for the past 4 or 5 years that I instill within my teams. It's right behind my head. It's me doing a training class right now where I've got the law of averages broken down and on a reporting dashboard for the team. All of that was learned in that environment. And the most important thing of that environment was having something to be willing to go through that fight, because it is tough. I mean, sitting in Sam's Club, you get 1,000 people walk in a day plus, and you're maybe getting 10 people back to your table to give you a chance to talk. And out of those 10 people, you maybe get 1 or 2 people to sign up if you're pretty good. There's a lot of rejection in that. And I think that whether it's a door-to-door sales job, whether it's this, I think everybody should have that type of high rejection-based job, especially in sales. That's a foundation to learn when you get into more advanced roles, how beneficial those things can be.
Yeah, because you can watch them. If you're like from a distance, you can see like you kind of have to psych yourself up every single time someone's about to walk by you. Like in a way, you kind of have to get yourself ready for it. And I think after a while, you probably get used to it, you just do it. But I think if you watch from afar, people, especially if you see people who are newer, like you have to get yourself ready, because you're about to not ruin this guy's day, but it's like jump in front of him and interrupt this guy's day and say, hey, I want to talk to you about your phone plan.
Yeah, but and the big thing I want you to double click on that though, Matt, and it kind of goes back into the original thing that we were talking about. When we talk about building a ground up organization, people weren't working for that yes. They weren't working for that individual sale. They were willing to go through those no's because they knew they had to go through those no's to find the yeses, and they had to get the yeses to ultimately be able to prove to their leadership that they could sell themselves, so they had an opportunity to be able to feed into others. And all of those things were necessary to eventually do what they were there to do, which was take shitty pay, take a shitty job, but for an opportunity, for a dream, and for an opportunity to be a part of something. And I keep saying that be a part of something, because that's something that I've really kind of digested as we turn into 2024. There's been companies I've worked for where I was just an employee, and there's companies I've worked for where I've been a part of something. And, Matt, what you and I are building over this past, year has felt like we're a part of something, and the people that are inside of our organization are a part of something. And I think as long as we can create a part of something type of mentality, then people are willing to go for the bigger cause.
I want to ask you this, because I think that's really important, because I do see that in our VA business right now, is that people feel like they're a part of something, and we let that be known right away when people come into our training classes and look to get started. Like, this is what our organization is about, and this is the type of people we're looking for, which are growth-minded people who want to join this and grow, whether that is just as managers or leaders within whatever company we're working for at the time, or as partners of ours. And we kind of instilled that at the beginning. How do you see this playing out in your head as we continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger? And what do you think the most key thing is to keep that level of bought-in mentality as we grow and scale this VA company?
I think the thing that both you and I are going to have to continue to realize is, like a law of averages are in the sales side, there's going to be a law of averages when it comes to people. There are only few people in the world that are willing to take a risk on leaving a corporate salary and leaving the security of a corporate environment to then go out and do their own. Not everybody that we're going to recruit in is the potential and even interest in wanting to grow. So we continue to emphasize knowing what our mission is, knowing what our mission statement is, and continuing to speak to that. And through that, we'll identify the right people that we can grow with. And if we're not, then we need to look back at ourselves and remind ourselves of what our mission is. If we ever get to the point where we're chasing money, or we're chasing this, or we're chasing that, then I think we're doing it for the wrong reasons. But I think I'm confident in saying that between the two of us having such a foundation in the development and the success of other people around us, that'll keep us hungry in regards to making sure that. Now, the reality is, Matt, we got to remember is nobody's going to care about our business the way we do. Nobody's going to care as much as we do about what we do. But the better we can find people and really kind of make them go through the hard times to then appreciate the good times, all of those things, I think, will come out in the wash at the end. But I think it's a challenge. I think that one of the other things I was talking to one of our other leaders about the other day, which is being able to make quick decisions and not stick to them, be willing to make the adjustments quick. And I think that's something that, man, when you and I started this earlier last year, we had a certain idea and a vision, but that's changed 15 times in the past couple of months, much less since the beginning. And being willing and able to adjust and move on the fly, I think, is something that's necessary for people like us in our situation.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the things to also talk about with that is finding the right leaders within it. Because even though we have that mindset, it also comes down to the people below us who are working with our VAs or whoever else in between that. If you have the wrong person stuck in there that is poisoning everybody else underneath that, it's going to ruin it. So it's important for us to keep our finger, our hand on the pulse of our business, and to make sure that we're continuing to watch the people who are growing up into our business and who are becoming leaders, make sure they're doing the right thing. I learned this year in my business here that it doesn't matter how well someone performs. If they're a negative entity in your business and they're clouding the minds of everyone else, they're going to pull everybody down. It doesn't matter how many deals they close, how great they are at the job. You have to find the right mindset of behind people as well to join your organization and to help it grow, because you can ruin everything from that.
Let me ask you this, and I'd be interested to see if your perspective has changed. Prior to us doing this, in your mind, would you have assumed leaders are built or are they born?
I think they're built. Prior to this, you always have the mindset of like this guy, like whoever you look up to, like this guy just had to be like the leader. Like he was out the womb, just came out, was leading his friend group, and then in sports he was a captain of everything, and he just happened to grow up that. I mean, there's leaders like that. Don't get me wrong, but I think you can be built through a lot of uncomfortableness or like the willing and hunger to go into certain things with a certain mindset, and I think you can build yourself into that by watching other leaders and emulating them also. So I think there obviously are born leaders, but you can build yourself into one as well.
Yeah, and I think that's will continue to be our challenge, which is, and for the listeners that are here, some of you guys are probably in our organization, and you're part of what we're building, but for some of you that not, I mean, one of the things that we do, I think that separates us is we don't truly offer just like, hey, we could eventually be like a team leader, or eventually you could be a manager. Just this year alone, between Matt and I alone, we have promoted now 3 people to be business partners of ours, not employees or managers. And what I mean by that is that's a shared revenue thing. That's a partnership. They are somebody who sits at the same table as us making decisions. And a lot of those people are people that we are building a subsegment of our business and then having those people run it. Matt and our goal is to have many, many organizations under our umbrella with many, many leaders running those things. And all of those people eventually scale from being a top performer as an individual contributor, then to be a team leader and or a coach, then to grow into be a manager. In order to become a team leader, you have to be the best at where you are. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about our grading system that we've instilled, which I think is kind of unique. But you have to be a top graded person at that rank. Then you move into a coaching perspective. You have to show that you can make people around you better. You have to learn the other parts of the business to move into be a managerial position. You have to master and know all of those things. And the same thing we would expect of our managers and our coaches and our future partners are the same thing we do. Before Matt and I move off a project and put somebody in there, we have to know it and master it. And that somebody has to own that project between the two of us. Right. There's not a part of our business that at some point Matt and or I didn't do, master, and eventually develop somebody to take over that part. Right. Matt, I mean, as we talk about that, one of the things that we did instill in the past couple of months was a grading system. And I think that when I probably instilled that into the team, that might have been kind of like a a different approach than what a lot of companies are willing to do, which is an open scoring system, competition right in front of everybody's face. What was your original thoughts on that? And how do you think that's gone?
Yeah, the original thought was this could either go really well or really bad, right? It's like, there's like no in between on that. When you do something like that, it could, and again, it comes back to who is in your organization, the type of people that are within it. I think we're very lucky to have the people that are within our organization, and that comes to our recruiting process. Nabahat, if you listen to this, giving you a little kudos on everything you've done. But our recruiting process and getting the right people into our training system, and then certifying the right people into our company here. And when we found about the grading process and how we're going to do that and make it so everyone saw your grade right in front of it, and it wasn't about we're here to tear you down.
Right.
We made it very clear we're not here to tear you down. This is an opportunity for us to say this is where you need to improve, and this is how we can help you do that. And you see the ones that are at the top, they're the ones who are going to eventually move into leadership roles, and everyone is never going to be in the dark about why someone got moved up, because you see exactly why they got moved up. And if you need help to be where they are, they're there to help you.
Yeah. And I think that for me, one of the other things that we emphasize within our team is we don't just grade like a sales team, right? It's a lot of times I've seen so many companies make the mistake of saying the guy who makes the most sales is the next manager.
Right.
And for me, I've seen that work less than I've seen it work. I've
Yep.
seen that process fail more than I've seen that process work. And so for us, we're not just grading on performance. I mean, performance is a metric inside of our grade, but our grade is based off of how their peers view them. Are they viewed as a leader? Are they respected by their team? Are they knowledgeable? Are they punctual? Are they dependable? Are they loyal? Those are some of the things that we look for, not just the knowledge. The knowledge has to be there. You have to be able to sell, to be able to teach people how to sell for sure, but it's not the most important metric. Typically, the best performers are not necessarily the ones that are going to lead because they don't know how to speak to the common man. Matt, is you are kind of shift this conversation to what you do on the real estate side. How has that affected you on the real estate business? I mean, seeing maybe you had some people within your organization at one point that were really, really good at getting deals done, but they weren't necessarily easy to work with. They weren't necessarily the ones that are going to make people around them better. And how has your mindset changed on that over the past year?
Oh, it's changed tremendously. I mean, I've heard from other entrepreneurs, and you hear them say it a lot, where they say like, what they say, hire slow, fire fast. And that was in my head. That was always just like if they suck at their job, get them out of there, right? It wasn't more like if they just weren't putting the numbers up, get them out of there. And that's obviously one big reason. But also, you have to identify when people are tearing others down and not lifting them up. And so, yeah, within our organization, we've had people that come in and that do really well, and like, oh, you're crushing all these deals, you're doing great. But you get other people that call me like, hey, this person is complaining. They are constantly tearing, like in meetings, it's always negative. Whenever something goes wrong, they're pointing fingers at everybody else instead of, hey, it's me that I could have done better, or like, how can we improve this? It's always you did this and you did that. Like if you find people like that, again, either you got to nip that in the bud right away, and like this is not going to be happening, to make sure that it completely is cut off, or you need to get them out. It doesn't matter how much their money they're making you, because it's going to hurt you in the long run. And that's something we definitely found out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exaggerating that. Right as we jumped on this call, I called one of my other leaders of one of my other teams, and we had a guy who made 5 sales this morning, and he was on the group chat talking trash, getting a little loud. I jumped on there and gave him an earful in regards to how he was speaking to his team. And after that conversation, I called the manager and said, let him go. Get him out of here. Yep. He could sell. Great. Everybody can learn how to sell. I have no problem teaching people how to sell, but he is not a representation of the team. He's not making people around him better. He's not making people like him around him. Get rid of him. I can replace the sales. I don't need to ruin the group that we have here. So that's something that right before this meeting made a not an easy decision, but it was a decision that was needed. And look, you and I've been at an organization. We were at an organization together where there were clear, obvious cancers in a company.
Yep.
For whatever reason, the leadership was unwilling to let go of them because of history or because of performance or because of all that. And man, especially when you're the top performer, you need to be the best example of what good looks like, because you got younger, newer employees that aren't ready to learn from the wrong people. Man, that could just absolutely tank what you're doing. So Let me ask you this question, Madam. We just entered into 2025, so we got a lot of goals. You and I have had a couple of really exciting meetings over the past couple of days. What are you the most excited about coming into 2025? Whether it be about what we're doing on the virtual assistant business, whether it be about what you're doing in your real estate business, which I know is just every time I talk to you, it's like a new contract's going out, a new deal is getting executed, which is exciting. Or some of the new ventures that we're potentially kind of strategically going into. What are you most excited about right now?
I'm excited about. I know it's corny to say all of it, really all of it. It's exciting every part of this, and you talked about a little bit like entrepreneur journey. It's never a dull moment. It feels like there's always a fire. There's always people problems. There's always business problems. There's always stuff like that. But you learn to overcome those problems, and it's exciting to overcome those and see you move forward after those. Sometimes your business will bleed, and you're like, oh my god, I gotta patch this up, and then sometimes you'll thrive, and it's always fun. And so I'm most excited to just learn more as we continue to grow. That's what I'm most excited about in general. Just continue to have our problems that we have, and then working together with you and with the wholesale team and everybody else to get past those problems and come up with creative solutions to be adaptable and move forward. As far as the virtual assistant business goes, I'm excited to see more leaders within our company grow into partners with us. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see us help more of our clients out on the VA side and the wholesaling side, because that's something I love to do, and I love to help people grow their wholesaling business, and we can be a part of that, which is great. As far as the wholesaling business goes, I mean, we got plans to promote managers, to get into more markets, to take people from all over the world into our business and put them in positions to grow within our company and build themselves into leaders and everything. So I'm excited about that, and double and tripling our gross revenue. Obviously, money is a great factor that comes with that, but really, it's what I'm most excited about is just the day-to-day building and growing of our organizations and learning more and more about certain things, adding more partners onto, watch them grow. It's really that's the most fun for me.
It's so funny that you answered the way you did, because obviously I'm excited about all those things too.
Yeah.
But so for everybody's listening, that's Matt's side of the business. He's in the real estate, the wholesale, our wholesale VAs. Over the past couple of months, I've kind of shifted a little bit of my focus to be more of creating the same VA process on the sales side. And we've obtained a couple of customers over the past couple of months, and we've had a lot of growth happening on that side of the business. And just this week, we've gotten multiple referrals. We've got a couple of inbound leads that have come in. The word of mouth is getting out in regards to what we're doing on the sales side. And so what I didn't hear you talk about, which is the rapid growth and expansion on the sales side of what we're doing with sales SDR VAs, which is not surprising, because that's kind of the part of the business I'm kind of taking the ball and running with it. But yeah, I'm super excited about that too. So we just obtained a client, a huge client that one of our then managers, now our partners, was able to help us get, now close. Now we went live with them at the beginning of January. We went live with 6 employees up front. We have done so well that we've already been referred to another client from them. We've already having discussions about adding more employees to their organization. And it's a proven concept that I think will be a very, very big future part of our business. And, to the point of taking an employee, growing them to be a manager, growing them to be a leader. I'm so excited to see what Dan is doing with that team and how well he is doing that team. And over the past couple of months, we've decided to bring in some outside help of people that people that I know, people that I've worked with, people that you've worked with in the past. I brought in 2 former people. One of them worked with Matt and I at a company we worked at together. Another one worked with me back in those direct TV days. And so excited to see how we can take those people who are ready to jump on to the wild ride as we are going downhill, and it's all downhill from here. To see how their ideas, their experience can help us kind of continue to elevate, whether it be Spin Will Assist, whether it be the consulting side of the business I do, or whether it continue to be the wholesale side of the business. There's so many places this can go. And where we think now, I promise you, if we do this same video a year from now, the what came out of 2025, I expect will be so different than what we think is going to come out of 2025, because that's, fortunately, I think one of our biggest advantages is our ability to see an issue, attack it, and then divert when we need to.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on
One of
that?
the things, yeah, one of the things I want to bring up is I think is really important. Going back and looking back where we started to now was how important our processes were while we're growing this thing. Like I
Yeah.
think that a lot of people fly by the seat of their pants, which me and you do pretty much do that too as well. But we figured out like not only is a process important, but when you build a process that's replicable, then we can almost sell that process to other businesses.
Yeah.
That's how we're growing the sales side and the SDR
Mhm.
side is showing like, hey, we built a process down, not only how to recruit great people and to build an organization, but also from everything you've learned, how to put the process together to build a sales team for other people also. And that's why we're seeing success over there with the client that we have with Dan. And we're going to continue to grow more on that side because of the process. Now, tell me about. I know that in your head you're very good at coming up with processes, but it's obviously something that everyone has to join in together with. How do you attack that when you come to new things?
Yeah, I don't know. It's something that's just kind of come to me over the years. I mean, that's I think something that comes with experience, is making mistakes and learning, and not trying to figure it all out yourself, because there's been plenty of people that have walked this road before that you can learn from. And so I think that having an access to a network of people like we do, to be able to bounce ideas off of, and throw ideas against the wall, and like I said, kind of like the opposite of the recruiting side. I think we make fast decisions, but don't hold on to them quick.
Right.
And I think all of those things are advantage. I think that one of my big advantages is that I'm a very instinctual, gut-based person. Matt is as well. But I'm not married to my thoughts. And so I can be told I'm wrong. I can be told somebody else is doing it. But, I think that the way you hire and the people you bring in help that. I mean, look, the reality of it is, we wouldn't be able to do the sales side of the growth the way we are without Dan. We wouldn't be able to do the virtual assistant real estate side of the business without Mads. I mean, we had a former leader that was in that role, and they weren't a process driven person. And as soon as Mads came, it was like, boom, she understood process. We understood process. We married our process together. And then the most important part, which is the execution of that process. And I think the other part to it is first your decision to bring in an executive assistant and make that jump and delegate, which is a hard challenge for me. I'm a kind of do it myself type of guy. And then my learned experience of then bringing in my own executive assistant, and then having, a team of them working together, you and my assistants together, they work so well together, and that whole divide and conquer. But once again, I think that all of those people, whether it's Dan, whether it's your assistant, my assistant, whether it's Mads, whether it's the team of people, the reason they do all this because they're a part of something.
Yeah.
And they know they're running towards a bigger goal. They know they're a part of something. I mean, that I think is big. So when it comes to processes, I think build it, test it, change it.
Right.
Build it, test it, change it, build it, test it, change it. And eventually you'll find a process that can be duplicated. And then if you have good people, the advantage we have, I think, Matt, that a lot of people, companies don't have or don't realize they have, which is our access to people. When we create a process, we can then install people to do these processes. So, for all of you that are listening, we have sometimes 300 people a day apply to come work for us.
Yeah.
We've got a whole recruiting team that does nothing but fielding through 300 resumes a day, that does dozens and dozens of interviews every single day. They're looking for the type of people we recruit for are not experience, not your resume, but we're looking for personality traits, and they know exactly how to interview for personality traits. And when you do that, and for the cost of the labor that we have access to, whether it be for our clients or whether it be for our internal process, I think that's one of the big cheat codes we have that a lot of people don't realize they have access to, and don't realize how beneficial those things could be. I mean, I'll give you an example. The other day in the BDC business, me and my partner on that side of the business, we're having an issue where one of the big things we had to do was to see leads come in and get to them in less than 3 minutes. And I had salespeople that were focused on trying to make sales, but they weren't looking at the leads. And so she was like, what do we do? What do we do? And I said, oh, we'll just hire some lead coordinators. She's like, what's that? I'm like, I don't know. Let's just made it up. And it's literally just 3 people that do nothing but sit on the CRM and look at a dashboard that updates every 30 seconds. And as soon as a lead comes in, they grab it, they stop the clock, and they send it to a salesperson to make sure it's touched and reacted. Most people wouldn't think to put a resource on that exact thing, but it only makes sense because we have the access of people and the talent. and ability to then create that process to now that is our biggest strength, to where it was at one point our biggest weakness is how fast we get to leads.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the issues that people have in the mindset wise, especially here in America, is hiring outside of America. And I think that maybe they think that you're going to get less if you do, and we have not seen that at all.
No.
We have there's no shortage of access to hungry individuals who are excited to work, who are excited to learn, to grow, and it's been a game changer for us. Just seeing how many countries that we've recruited people from. I think you said like it was like 30 or 40 different countries or something like that, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, I mean,
And
right now, you and I spoke about at the end of December, and it was just this exact experience was a kind of a, I'd say, life changing experience for me. On that, I had a potential employee that I was meeting with, and I was going through kind of like asking them what they were expecting from a pay, what their income requirement was, and they gave me a number, and that number was less than what I was willing to pay them. And I told them, here's what we pay for this role, and this candidate jaw dropped and started tearing up because of how not only they would never have access to an opportunity like this where they're from, they would never have access to income like this where they're from. And this person has been a rock star for us, because the amount of money you have to pay for this person who has amazing English, great talent, young, hungry, motivated, willing to come in and work pretty much every day on her day off to help her team just because she's a part of something. And she was willing to work for less money, but we paid her a little bit more. And that made her buy-in so well worth it. And the partner that I had on this project that I was working with, she was telling me, man, I feel guilty paying these people this amount of money, because the amount of money I pay this young lady is nothing compared to an American person, right? It's just not. An American person would never consider working that because we're entitled, guys. I mean, let's just face it. We're entitled. We're used to making a certain amount of money. I mean, I'm servicing a client right now that's in California. I think the minimum wage is like $15 or $17 an hour. I can right now hire almost 5 people for the cost of a one individual minimum wage level person there in California, and they are better than what you would get for minimum wage in California. It's just they're better for one, and I can get 5 for the price of one in that regard.
those 5 people aren't struggling. They're not struggling with the pay. They're
No, they're thriving. They're thriving. Like we pay right now for a lot of our internal employees. We pay 3 times the average salary for what somebody makes in that role. We pay an exceptional rate in comparison, but in comparison to US salary, it is less. It is nothing, but they could never they very rarely can find a job like ours where you need no experience. You just have to have a personality. You have to speak English pretty well. And you have the opportunity to grow and become whatever you want to be with people who are truly interested in mentoring and coaching you. And, man, when I called Matt after that meeting and I was like, hey, Matt, let me give you perspective. In a little over 6 months, we've been able to hire and coach, I think it was like 50 or 60 people at that time. And by the end of February, it'll be over 100. I was like, just think about 100 people, 50 people didn't have an opportunity to have a job. They weren't getting paid as well as they are now. And now we've given those opportunities to 50 different families. We've got a lot of opportunities. We've already promoted in less than 6 months, I think 10 plus people into leadership roles. We've developed 3 partners, developed organically. Man, that's something that on the surface, people will look at it and think, man, you take advantage of people who get paid less. No, that these guys are absolutely thriving with the amount that they're getting and the jobs that they do, and they love it.
Yeah, I think that's important. Is in general is like if we focus on that, we focus on the people that we're helping. Like money is obviously the sexy thing that people want to see, right? Like, oh, I got so much money and all that stuff like that, and that comes from helping people. And if we focus on just like what can we do to help people out and how we can grow this, the money will come, and that's one part of it. And we've foregone any salary like that for a long time, and nobody's mad about it here. Like we're okay because we've seen the growth and what this company can be and how many people we've impacted with it, and that's just going to continue to grow and make us more and more happy as we continue to do it.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited, man.
Yeah, with that, all right. So we talked about what we've done. So talk to me about 2025 plans for Matt Huber, for not only the consulting side of it, what you have in mind for the assist side of it, for the VA company, SDR side, BDC side, all the different things you're doing right now. Tell me some of the things that you have in store for 2025.
I mean, my thought process on 2025 is I'm 41 years old. I want to be able to financially retire by the time I'm 50. I don't think I'll ever retire. I don't think that's the type of person I am, but I want to be able to financially retire without having to make any decision based off of money again after the age of 50. So right now, the good thing is both you and I, specifically myself, we've got a lot of opportunities coming in front of us. And I am busting my ass to take every single opportunity I have and make every relationship, every connection that I can to see, where we can make that work. I'm probably overworking myself in the short term to be able to create as many opportunities of our team as possible so that we can set up a structure in place to have, dozens of business. By the end of this year, currently I'm managing over 5 businesses, between the two of us. We've got a couple of businesses we're running, plus a couple of additional things I'm consulting for and doing. But by the end of the year, I want to have 10 different levels of streams of income coming in consistently monthly. I want us to, between you and I, increase our investment portfolio between some real estate, some houses like we've discussed, and we've even discussed the idea of investing into companies, both on a financial perspective and a resource perspective. Those are the big things I'm excited about. The things that are taking the majority of my time right now are a couple of big projects that I'm working on in the automotive industry. But I don't think I've got maybe about 3 more months before those things are pointed in the right direction. All the processes are in place, the people are in place, and we're able to kind of shift focus on those into newer, bigger projects. For right now, like always, the number one thing I'm excited about is the opportunity to continue to develop as many people as possible and to grow as many future leaders as possible. I'm trying to develop an army. I'm trying to develop a group of people who are going to ride for me, fight for me, and stand right next to me, not behind me, but stand next to me in war. Luckily, you and I have that with each other. I think as many of those people that we can create is the biggest overall mission I'm trying to do. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah.
Got goosebumps.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the same lines as you. For me, it's growth and ownership right now. Growth within not only myself and organizations, but other people also. And then ownership as far as grabbing more properties, real estate, like you said, and businesses, and growing more businesses. And within that, obviously, real estate is something that we can help them grow our portfolios and income streams. But the growing other businesses is growing more individuals and opportunities for them, and growing more opportunities for anybody that we take on a business that was struggling, or ones that look like they're trying to get out of it. And we know in the next few years or so is going to be a big mass retirement of people, boomers who are ready to get out of it. And those are opportunities for us to take on those businesses and keep those employees moving those businesses without having them to lose their jobs and trying to find something else also. So a lot of different plans as far as growth, but those are the 2 things that stick out of my mind as far as business wise. But what I want to accomplish here in 25, especially to get everything down to really move forward in the next 5-10 years.
Cool. Let's do it. Let's go do it.
All right. Well, look, anybody who's listening to this, I hope you continue to watch our journey here, because we're going to continue to have these calls consistently. Talk about what we're doing, not only for ourselves to talk about the things and just kind of reflect on what we've done, but also if you guys get any benefit from it. Maybe you guys are trying to grow businesses also, want to learn from people who are doing it and who are in the thick of things right now and trying to grow something, and hear from our mistakes and things that we've done really well and things that have worked for us. And there's plenty of mistakes that we could talk about. But that's something that, is part of the entrepreneur journey, what you have to go through. So if you guys get any value with this, please like, subscribe, click the alert button, follow us. I mean, whatever things you can do to help support us, that'd be great. And let us know that whenever we put something out there, if you guys appreciate it, please comment on it also. But Matt, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys soon.